Yes, guys, I have waited forever to review this movie, and I'm finally doing it on the day it should be done. Not Saturday, not Sunday, not whenever you guys are going to be trunk-or-treating. It is the day of Halloween, and that is when this movie is reviewed. Today, Monday, the 31st of October, 2011. And this movie is awesome. Let me tell you, John Carpenter, as you may know, I am a huge fan of all of his movies. Some of them are not all that great, some of them are masterpieces, like this one is right here. The movie that started the whole horror genre generation started here in 1978 in a little town called Haddonfield, Illinois, right there next to Burkittsville, too. So the story is this 6-year-old little boy kills his sister after she gets done having affections with another young man. And he's locked away until he's 21 years old, or 23-ish, anyway, until he can be tried for his trial. And that's when he escapes from a sanitarium by very gingerly letting all the other insanos out of the sanitarium. And he runs back off to his hometown of Haddonfield, Illinois, where a certain babysitter, played by Jamie Lee Curtis, future sponsor of Activia yogurt, for example, is there awaiting to babysit while her other friends have affections for other young men. His psychiatrist, however, is onto him because for 15 years, this guy was the guy that was trying to keep Michael Myers locked up away from everyone else where he can no longer do any harm to anyone ever again. He's the guy that we have to thank for this nut not being running loose at all, ever. And when Michael Myers gets home, he gets to business. He steals a one-piece suit and a Halloween mask, and he's off to the races with his kitchen knife. This movie is great. It is the original slasher flick. It's got babysitters. It's got affections. It's got a serial killer with a deadly weapon. He's quiet. He's walked slow, but he gets to you no matter what. He's unstoppable. He cannot be stopped. Like I said, the acting is great. Dr. Loomis, his psychiatrist, is played by Donald Pleasence, who does this role perfectly. He's excellent. The guy that plays Michael Myers actually has a name, but he isn't really important because anyone could do this. He just walks slowly and stares at people and acts like a creepy stalker would. And the thing is, this guy, whoever he is, he's great at it, and that's all I really need to do. The other people never went anywhere except for Jamie Lee Curtis, in which this was her first role, by the way. This was her first role as a babysitter in a horror movie. And the thing is, this movie is great. Like I said, John Carpenter directed it. He also he and another guy came up with the music for this song, so that theme song that's incredibly catchy and also goes around and around and around in circles is very nice, and he did that too. This is great. That was great. It goes great with the movie, you know. It just fits the mood perfectly. And now, I know I may be blowing this out of proportion, but the thing is, there isn't a whole lot to this movie. It's basically just a serial killer stalks a babysitter till Halloween night, and then goes and kills all of her friends and tries to kill her, basically. And, the thing is, though, that this was the precursor to all those other serial killer movies that ever came after it. Friday the 13th came after this. A Nightmare on Elm Street came after this. Scream came much further after this. All of them came a long time after Halloween because Halloween was the one that started the horror genre, basically, single-handedly. Before this, the only thing was a Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and let's face it, who went and saw that in theaters? Really? I mean, come on. It's called a Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I mean, who's going to go watch that in a theater? Although, that would be interesting to review later on. But this is the horror movie that brought the horror genre to the masses. It's the one that rose the bar to something finer than just massacring things. This is a fine horror movie that does it well. It's great. And really, that's all I can say. It's great. I love it. Now, this movie also had about 5 or 6 sequels. I've seen them all, but I wouldn't really see it necessary to review them or even watch them. There is a sequel to this movie, Halloween 2, and it actually has the original cast and everybody in it, including Jamie Lee Curtis, who appears in it. And I would definitely recommend you seeing that. But right now, I'm just reviewing Halloween as a standalone movie. And as a standalone movie, it's not only a great horror movie, but I'll bet it's one of the best of all time. Michael Myers for the character, he's one of the best horror film, stars, I guess, of all time of the later part of the century. In fact, he's my favorite. So, yeah, Freddy fans, Jason fans, sorry, I gotta go with Michael on this one. But this Halloween, if you have not seen Halloween at all this month, see it tonight and see it now, because this is a great movie. And you just gotta see it. If you're a fan of horror movies, or if you're a fan of movies in general, this is a milestone in cinematic history, and you've gotta see it. It's just great. And I hope I'm not building it up too much for a big disappointment, but I don't think you will be disappointed, because this, while it's simple, is also a great movie. And Michael Myers, I met him 15 years ago. I was told there was nothing left. No reason, no conscience, no understanding, even the most rudimentary sense of life or death, good or evil, right or wrong. I met this 6-year-old boy with this blank, pale, emotionless face and the blackest eyes. The devil's eyes. I spent 8 years trying to reach him, and then another 7 trying to lock him up and keep him, because I realized what was behind those boys' eyes was purely and simply evil. Have a happy Halloween.